Gen Z is representative of this very interesting phenomena of what happens when you are robbed of the usual American narratives, and then you discover that they were never really that important anyway. During COVID-19, most of Gen Z was either in high school puberty or we were in our first years of college. And we were told so many things that, oh, you'll go to prom, oh, you'll graduate high school, oh, you'll have your senior spring break, oh, you'll have your first years of college, and those will be such great years. And we were told all these typical American narratives, and we were told that those are what make a life fundamental. Those are what make a life profound. And those are what those milestone experiences are what makes a person. Then COVID happened, and we were stripped of all of them. And when COVID was over, which I know it's not technically over, we went back to life. We went back to the real world immediately and pretended like nothing ever happened. More importantly, Gen Z was sort of picked up, and imagine this, you pick a person up and you put them on a treadmill that's already going at 100 miles an hour, okay? They're gonna stumble and fall. They're gonna struggle to keep up. While older generations, they were running on that treadmill for a good time before COVID happened. And then COVID happened, they took a break and they went back on. But they still kind of understand how to run on that treadmill. They still have the muscles to run on that treadmill, okay? Gen Z, on the other hand, we don't have those muscles. So we have higher rates of burnout, isolation, apathy, loneliness, and no one is willing to acknowledge what we lost. No one is willing to acknowledge that maybe we have arrested development for reasons that are incredibly obvious. What this does is we realize all the usual narratives don't matter at all to our lives. Yes, we might grieve all the things that we lost, but ultimately, it doesn't really seem to matter. It doesn't seem to be as important as everybody made it out to be. And now what's happening is we're forced to just kind of time jump and pick up the pace. And the world didn't pick up where it left off. It literally jumped light years ahead and just plopped us down into reality. So constantly, we're failing, we're burning out, etc. We can't keep up with the narratives that we're supposed to be keeping up with, but no one is willing to acknowledge why we can't keep up with those narratives. All they do is other us and threaten to abandon us for not being able to keep up with the status quo. So you, as someone who's Gen Z, might have these wild ambitions. You might want to be an artist. You might want to be the president. Girl, I don't know. I don't care. You might even just want to work in an office, all right? But considering the systems and the economy, and moreover, your body's inability to keep up now, you have these ambitions and this genuine joy that you would like to pursue, but you are constantly falling on your face because you can't keep up with the average American life. What then happens is you internalize a belief that you don't want it enough. And so you might begin to question whether or not you actually love or think or feel the things that you love, you think, and you feel. This severs you from your mind and your body. It means that to pursue what you cognitively know you want, you have to always ignore what your body wants. And then if you don't, and you take a break, take some time, fall behind, and give your body what it wants, then the world tells you that what you cognitively want is not actually genuine. That makes Gen Z like hyperbolic of American narcissism. You have to, in order to survive, sever the self from the body, and you either live out this grandiose, egoic persona where you're constantly talking a big game, but never following through on what it is you say you're gonna do because you literally cannot, or you become a zombie. You become apathetic. You don't care about anyone, not even yourself. You become depressed because your rage turns inward. And so now most of Gen Z is in life planning portion too. We're either about to graduate college or we're navigating the workforce for the first time. So the defeat, the overwhelm, the confusion about what to do and where to go is amplified because now we don't even have the structure and the pressure of the school system keeping us in line. Now we're not failing according to the school system, we're actually failing according to the world. The only way to ground yourself and overcome is to fuse the mind with the body. But in order to do that, you have to ignore what you cognitively know, because those are all just narratives that you are trained to believe in, and root down into what it is you feel in your body and what your body wants. The difficult thing about that, though, is that it forces you to imagine a world that is neither possible nor impossible, because it forces you to imagine a world that does not exist yet. By that I mean, if you were to try to imagine a world that in a future, in a path forward, that aligns with what your body needs, it does not exist in today's society at all whatsoever. We know that. We've been living that. Every which way we turn, we fall short. Moreover, the reason why Gen Z struggles to imagine and to innovate and craft a future forward is because not only are we severed from our mind and our body, but we're severed from reality itself. During COVID-19, we saw how quickly the world can change. More importantly, we saw how quickly the government can jump into action. Even though it wasn't perfect, as far as governments go, it moved incredibly quickly to change the status quo. And we saw how people protected each other. Of course, imperfectly, I know not everybody was staying indoors, but the majority of people, they did mask, they did stay indoors. They cheered on the healthcare workers when they came home. They advocated for the stimulus checks and for the rent pauses. They put up signs in the neighborhood that said, like, keep going. With love, we can conquer everything. During COVID-19, we saw how quickly and how willing people are to change their day-to-day whenever their lives are at stake. And now we go back and everyone's like, well, this is how life is. Life's tough. There's nothing we can do for you. There's nothing we can help you. That's just how it shakes out. And it doesn't make any sense. We're like, wait, no, because we did change the world. The world changed overnight, almost immediately. So when you know that every path feels chosen for you, that every door is one that will close in your face, and that there's not ultimately a future, there's no mobility, there's no way for you to move around and craft a life that at least makes you a little bit happy, you do nothing. You do nothing. We feel and we saw how much control can be exerted, and more importantly, we saw how willing everyone is just to believe that we have to continue living like this, and it just doesn't make any sense. So we gave up on dreaming and imagining. Now there is a way forward. In order to craft a life that you're excited about and plan for a future that you can dream about, you have to put all the old narratives aside. Because all those old narratives are fed to you from the outside world, and they're just going to repeat the past. So in order to think of a life beyond capitalism, you have to start bare bones and ask yourself what you want, what you desire, what your body needs right now. So I'm going to give you a personal example just so you can see what it is I mean here. First, I'm a student, so I asked what it is my body needs. Well, my body has not been given adequate water, shelter, food, socializing. I've been wildly isolated. None of those things make it possible for me to be a good student. So the system has to change. I've devised a million ways and schemes to overcome. None of it helped. So then you ask yourself, okay, now what does mind want? What do I cognitively want to do with my life? I want to write and I want to continue my education. But I know I cannot continue my education right now because I need to honor my body. More importantly, to honor my mind means I have to let it wander. I have to get creative about my education. It has to be something that I'm intrinsically motivated by. Otherwise, I won't do it because I like to jump around. If I'm dedicated to a task, it will get done with precision and immediacy, but it's because I choose to do it. Then you merge those two things and you think, in the ideal life, what will my vocation look like? For me, I said, okay, well, a college will have to supply a student with all of their basic needs. More importantly, it will have to allow the student to choose what kind of education they want to get out of it. Then you get bare bones and you say, now how do I move towards that future? Now that I know that that's what I want the future of education to look like, how do I get there? This is the part where you allow yourself to underachieve and imagine. I said, okay, I'll take some time off. I'll move in with family, and I'll pursue an education that I choose. So I decided to craft my own curriculum that feeds directly into the things that I want to be learning. And because I wanted to be forward-thinking, I decided to document the process and meet with academics and other educators to discuss what I'm learning, what I'm doing, or just the education, the future of education, things of that nature, or just talk about art. I don't know. All of these things are tangible and practical and immediate in my right now reality. Through honoring my mind, my body, and my imagination, I crafted a future and a plan that does not just benefit me, but the collective. And although I'm underachieving, what I discovered is that most people are super enthusiastic about this project because it's our job as young people to move the needle. It's our job as young people to think about the future. After all, it is our future, so we get to make it.